Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Seance with Sabrina.
Hello, yes thank you. We have a wonderful show lined up today. Coming up, we are joined by a woman who's convinced the haunter the child next door is training is actually her late husband. We also have a segment called The Pros and Cons of Being Able to Read Minds whilst being a sexy public figure who carries a whip. And also a spoon-bending masterclass. But first, who wants a prediction? I sense a man. He's sat in 6B.
Oh, that's me! Woo!
You will not survive the week.
What? What did she just say? Oh my god! Is she serious? Don't applaud, you savages! No!
I can tell it's going to be a fun one today, but before we get into the regular scheduled programming, I want to bring something to your attention. There are some out there who doubt my psychic prowess, who say my predictions are random guesses,
Oh, thank God!
that my spoons are rubber, and that I'm a con artist. And I say to them, could a con artist become the Pokemon champion of Kanto? Well, I hope not, because that's what I'm going to do. Be right back.
We start off as Sabrina grabs her Abra from Professor Oak's lab and... Whoa, wait a second. Oh, no. Let's try that again. We start off as Sabrina kidnaps Ash's dad and forces him to battle her bully Libby. Thankfully, special attacks are pretty overpowered in the early game, so Libby's Squirtle goes down without too much trouble. As we head off on the adventure, I'll give the intro. Welcome back to my Gym Leader Challenge series, where I play through Pokemon Fire Red as a gym leader and see how long it takes to finish the game. I won't use items in battle, I'll be playing on set mode to make it slightly harder, I'll allow evolving Pokemon beyond the stages that the gym leader uses, so the early gym leaders aren't at such a disadvantage, and finally I'll be playing at 4 times speed, and ranking the leaders based on real time and a bunch of other metrics. As you may have guessed already, we'll be playing as Sabrina this time, the psychic powerhouse who uses ridiculously strong special attackers who have a ton of setup potential. Oh, and also she has a Venomoth. As we've seen in previous runs, if you have a special move, Brock is easy, so let's go straight there. We set up all 3 barriers against Brock's Geodude, and then Confusion makes short work of the low special defense boulders as their physical moves bounce off our max defense Mime. Our next 2 party members are available in Cerulean, so let's get a move on. There's a whole load of poison Pokemon between here and Cerulean. Ash's dad can't help but get swole by the time he arrives to face Libby a second time. Psychic types really are favoured in Kanto. The worst thing this Pidgeotto can do on a run is sand attack you, especially when you don't have another team member to switch out to. So to counter this we use Substitute. This move takes 25% of the user's HP and hides them behind a... Wait, is that a baby Kangaskhan? Morality aside, while behind a Substitute we can't be hit with status moves, so we can safely set up our barriers as the bird is forced to just attack us with increasingly weaker moves. We're then able to sweep the team with Confusions, safe in the knowledge that their physical attacks will only tickle us. And finally, a Mega Punch for the Abra. I try to prise the unconscious cat out of Libby's arms, but she isn't having any of it and runs off. I guess we'll have to catch our own. After a bit of mucking about in the grass, we find our elusive targets. Welcome to the teams Salem and Harvey. Salem even has a Twisted Spoon held item, which is only a 5% chance for wild Abras to have. It increases our psychic moves by 10%. Lucky boy. Now Ash's dad's role as babysitter can begin, as Salem and Harvey can't do anything other than teleport, so there's going to be a whole lot of switch training to turn them into Kadabras. Time for Misty. Ash's dad has learnt the grass move Magical Leaf, so that's as easy as 1, 2... Oh, that's it. I was expecting a 3. On the way to Vermilion, Harvey evolves into a useful member of the team and gets an actual damage-dealing move in Confusion, and Salem follows soon afterwards on the SSN. Let's show Libby what this new team can do. Salem is brought down low and gets some sand in his eyes, but is able to take down the Pidgeotto. We switch into Harvey, who tanks a super effective bite from the Wartortle, and then finishes the turtle off with some Psybeams and Confusions. Raticate is then able to defeat Harvey with a quick attack. Ash's dad comes out and is able to demolish the rat and Libby's Kadabra with Confusions and some magical leaves. Thank God we have Ash's dad to bail us out of any tricky situations. Harvey is able to annihilate Surge's Voltorb and Pikachu with a Psybeam apiece, but then Raichu is able to stop the kill streak. Salem does what cats do best, and the electric mouse is no more. Salem leaves the corpse at the foot of Sabrina's bed as a gift. The Team Rocket Underground is a great time for our psychic soldiers. So many poison types to gobble up with super effective psychic moves. Salem wrecks the specially weak Onyx, but out next is Kangaskhan, an absolute beast of a Pokemon. And I'm not just saying that to appease the grumpers strapped to my chest. A critical fake out is enough to knock out our nearly full health Salem. Harvey sets up a Reflect to try and negate some of those hard-hitting physical moves, and Kangaskhan uses the special super effective move Bite instead. This thing was built to take on our team. Harvey gets the Kangaroo into the yellow before joining Salem in limbo. Thankfully, Ash's dad is able to outspeed and finish Kang off with a Psybeam. Last out is Rhyhorn. A Psybeam gets into a sliver. Thanks to the Reflect, a Stomp barely does anything, and we get the win. In the interest of getting our full team as soon as possible so we don't have any huge level gaps, I'm looking at you, Koga, we need access to Fuchsia. So we grab the Pokeflute, wake up the bear, go for a cycle, and then add Zelda the Venonat to our team. Sorry, Hilda, I'll include you on my Gen 2 Sabrina team, I promise. Let's try to give Zelda some levels as we take on Erica. I never understood why the Moth was on this team. Poison and Bug. Imagine if we had a Hypno instead. Non-stab confusions get the victory bell low, but Erica heals and the paralysis and acids are overwhelming our Fuzzball. Harvey comes out and destroys the part poison type. For Tangler, we switch into Ash's dad to share some of the XP around. Valplume puts us to sleep and starts getting us low, but eventually we wake up and finish the plant off, winning the Rainbow Badge. I'm looking forward to the next gym. Gen 3's abilities may have nerfed ground moves where floating poison types are concerned, but they didn't nerf psychic moves. Zelda is able to take down a Coughing that's 9 levels higher than her. The joys of resisting poison moves and having a psychic attack. Muck is a bit too much to handle though, and the Gnat is melted. Despite the minimizes, Harvey's aim is true and 2 Psybeams handle the blob. And to no one's surprise, the second Coughing and final Wheezing follows soon after. Not having her fill of poison types yet, Sabrina heads to Silphco for another rocket segment. After trashing her way through the office floors, we find ourselves against Libby again. Zelda is a bit outmatched here and Pidgeot makes short work of her. Salem sets up a Reflect in a future sight but falls soon after. A Psychic from Harvey is enough to end the bird. A Bite from Blastoise does ridiculous damage as we're able to return the favour with a Shockwave, but a second Bite ends Harvey. We rely on Ash's dad again to clean up our mess. A Magical Leaf for the Tortoise, 2 Psybeams for the Growlithe, some resisted Psybeams for the eggs. Alakazam brings us low, but Magical Leafs finally get the win. Sabrina proposes a boyfriend swap with Libby. She reluctantly agrees and Harvey gets sent over to the enemy camp for a few nights. He's ecstatic. He returns to Sabrina twice the man he was before, with double the spooning ability. Giovanni felt like he went too hard on us last time, so he's added some poison types to his team. What a sweetheart. Nidorino manages to use his high attack to bring Salem to half, as a single Psybeam takes him out. Nidoqueen is next. A Psybeam takes her to half, but she's able to finish Salem off with a Body Slam. 2 Psybeams from Ash's dad defeat the Queen. Kangaskhan does massive damage with Mega Punches, but thankfully they're not 100% accurate, and our Mr. Mime is able to duck and weave and land enough Psybeams to overcome the threat. Last is the specially weak Rhyhorn, who's 4 times weak to grass, so 1 Magical Leaf does the trick. Psyching ourselves up for the Marsh Badge, Sabrina pops into the dojo to remind them why they got their gym license revoked. Now that's out of the way, it's time for a psychic showdown of epic proportions. In the middle of the carnage, Zelda evolves into a Venomoth, getting a nice boost to her stats, and Salem follows soon afterwards. Our team is now fully evolved and it's time to face our mirror match. It's a messy opening as Zelda essentially paralyzes herself thanks to Kadabra's Synchronize ability, but eventually through paralysis we're able to hit a few super effective Leech Lives and get through. Mr. Mime is out and starts spamming setup moves as Zelda is barely able to move. A Psybeam takes us down. Our freshly evolved Salem paralyzes the Mime and sets up a Future Sight. Just as an aside, Future Sight is a move I didn't understand until I did this run. It deals typeless special damage to whatever enemy is out 2 turns after the move was used, so it's great for dealing neutral damage to psychic types, while still making use of our massive special attack. Another fun bit of info is that the damage is calculated when the move is initially used, based on our special attack and the special defense of the enemy who was out when we selected the move. So in a situation where you use Future Sight against something with an awful special stat like a Rhyhorn, then defeat the Rhyhorn using a different move, and then an Alakazam comes out, Alakazam will take a massive Future Sight, as if it had the special defense of a Rhyhorn. We'll be attempting to use this strategy throughout the run. Unfortunately, we don't get to see Future Sight reach its full potential this time, as Mr. Mime baton passes his stats to Venomoth. But no amount of Calm Minds is saving this moth from a super effective psychic from Salem. The Mime is back and is as annoying as ever, just maxing out his defense stats as Sabrina keeps healing him. And then he baton passes to Alakazam. We paralyze each other, but eventually the enemy Alakazam knocks us out. Ash's dad is able to finish him off with a magical leaf. And now it's a Mime off. But there's no cute robot dances or invisible wall tricks. Instead, one Mime shreds the other to pieces using razor-sharp leaves. Time to see how our team of glass cannons handles Blaine. Zelda risks a psychic against the Growlithe, but he has the level and type advantage, and a Fire Blast eradicates our moth. Salem and his Twisted Spoon can easily finish the pup off. Arcanine intimidates us, but if only we cared about our attack stat. This is the Big Brain Squad. 2 psychics finish the big dog off as Fire Blast gets us low. We set up a Future Sight against the Ponyta, and Salem is burnt to a crisp. Harvey tanks a Fire Blast and eventually takes the pony down with a Psychic, Shockwave, and Salem's Future Sight. And Rapidash can't survive 2 psychics. We're pretty low leveled for where we are in the game, and we're managing to keep our team within a few levels of each other, so this is looking really well for Sabrina's final position. The 8th and final gym awaits. To see how poor of a match Giovanni is, watch as Venomoth of all Pokemon is able to take out his 2 Rhyhorns and Dugtrio. Nidoqueen ends our streak, and 2 Psybeams from Ash's dad return the favour. A Psybeam almost one-shots the Nidoking, but he hangs on long enough to thrash the Mime to death. A Psychic from Harvey wins the battle without much fuss. The rival battles have been the hardest in this challenge, and I don't think they're going to be getting any easier. Salem is taken out pretty quickly by the Chunky Bird. Strong physical attacks really are this team's kryptonite. Harvey can finish the job, but now out comes Big Boy Blastoise. Shockwaves get him low, but Bite overpowers our Alakazam. Ash's dad sets up a substitute as a rain-boosted water gun almost kills us. And then Harvey's Future Sight finishes the turtle. For some reason we go for a barrier against the Rhyhorn, who breaks our substitute, but then a single magical leaf defeats the Rhino. Growlithe kills Ash's dad, and it's all up to Zelda. We outspeed and finish the dog with a Psychic, but Alakazam is out. We paralyze ourselves, we do good damage with Leech Lives, but Alakazam eventually hits us and we're toast. We're being out-leveled, so I think a few extra levels across the team should help. We go to the cluster of bikers at the top of Cycling Road, and rematch them using the Versus Seeker. They all have poison and fighting types, so our psychic users have a great time against them. With some more experience under our belt, we're back. And whoa, you're gonna whip us? Do you not know death when you see it, Libby? Salem sets up a Reflect, doubling our defense. We let off a Future Sight and then bring the bird down with Psychics. Blastoise is next and he takes the Future Sight attack. Our Psychic gets him low and gets the special drop. But we're weak enough to be taken out with a Water Gun. A Psychic from Harvey is enough to do the trick. We set up a Future Sight against the weak Special Defense Rhyhorn, and then a single Psychic gets the knockout. A Psychic doesn't quite get the KO on the Growlithe, and annoyingly the Future Sight hits. We were hoping to save that for Alakazam. It wouldn't have worked anyway, as Execute comes out. The eggs paralyze themselves as we set up another Future Sight, and switch to Zelda for the Leech Life win. Alakazam is last, and the Future Sight does massive damage, as the Execute has about half the special defense as Alakazam. A single Psychic ends the Moth, and a critical hit Psybeam from Ash's dad finally gets us the win. That was a struggle, which cost most of our team their lives, and Libby is only going to get stronger. I predict a grind. We have a couple of super effective grass moves against a lot of Lorelei's Pokemon, so this shouldn't be too hard, right? Well, after a few Calm Mind setups from Ash's dad, we still do just about half with that magical leaf, and Zelda's Giga Drain does even less. This Dugong is so damn tanky. Zelda doesn't hang on for very long after Lorelei heals. Salem can finish the seal off, but Lapras is even tankier, and Ice Beam wrecks us. Shockwave from Harvey does minimal damage and we're done for. Time for a biker grind, and let's rethink our strategy. We fetch the remaining rare candies that we missed, buy some vitamins, and get our Mr. Mime roided. Ash's dad is going to be our setup machine. At level 47 he learns Baton Pass, which is just like switching Pokemon except any stat modifications go with them. So with an extra level for good measure, we revisit Lorelei and lead with Ash's dad. We got off all 6 Calm Minds, maxing out our special attack and special defense as Dugong's attacks do less and less. We're praying for no critical hits here. We then Baton Pass into Harvey, who is now turbocharged. He shrugs off a Surf and a Shockwave annihilates the Dugong. Lapras goes the same way. Cloyster wastes a bit of time with Protect, but he's just prolonging the inevitable, and a Shockwave gets rid of him. Goodbye to Slowbro. Jinx goes Beast Mode and tanks our Shockwave whilst getting a critical hit Ice Punch, bypassing all of our stat boosts. But Lorelei's victory is short-lived, as a return from Salem defeats the Jinx. Bruno is the second Elite Four member. He deals with strong physical attack and defense Pokemon, but their special is awful. So if we outspeed, chances are we're going to win. If we don't outspeed or one-shot, we might get embarrassed here. A single Giga Drain from Zelda one-shots the Onix, and Hitmonchan is out next. 2 Psychics get the Boxer down low, but Rock Tombs overwhelm our Moth. A Psychic and a return from Salem are enough to get the win after Bruno heals. A Psychic and Future Sight defeat the Hitmonlee. Onix miraculously survives our Twisted Spoon boosted Psychic and manages to hurt us with an Earthquake, but 2 more Psychics get the job done after Bruno heals again. Last is Machamp. Psychic does massive damage, but it's still not quite enough, and a Cross Chop cripples our defensively weak cat. Ash's dad comes out, which is a mistake as I forget he has no attacking moves. So we set up a barrier as Mr. Mime's head is caved in with rocks. A single Psychic from Harvey is all that's needed. On to Agatha. She has a whole bunch of poison Pokemon who are weak to Psychic. I've got a good feeling about this one. Salem is beautiful. He's majestic. He can't be stopped. He's a killer. Oh, he's dead. Good thing Sabrina has a spare. Harvey avenges our cat and polishes off the last 2 ghosts. It's setup time again, so out comes our human punching bag Mr. Mime. Gyarados' Intimidate attack drop will also get carried with us when we baton pass, but no big deal, we're not relying on physical moves for this one. What we want to happen is for Gyarados to destroy our substitute with a Hyper Beam, giving us a free turn as he recharges so we can get some setup in. Once we're low enough, he sees the kill with Bite. Dark is a special type, so we start using Calm Minds to reduce the damage. Once our special is high enough, Gyarados switches to Hyper Beam again, giving us another extra turn to set up. And now with 2 HP remaining, we're forced to make our play. We've set up 3 Calm Minds and 2 barriers, so yet again, Harvey is now shredded after the baton pass. A 4x super effective Shockwave electrifies the snake. Aerodactyl outspeeds and hits us with an ancient power which bounces off Harvey's abs, as another Shockwave disintegrates the enemy. 2 Psychics for the Dragonite, and 1 more for each Dragonair. Easy peasy. Although I'll admit getting the Hyper Beam luck with Gyarados took a fair few attempts. It's our final battle against Libby. Our levels have not really increased that much since the last time we fought, whereas hers sure have. Her team has increased by between 10 and 16 levels each. Let's give this a go. We try our tried and tested setup strategy, but Libby has a trick up her sleeve. Her first 2 Pokemon, Pidgeot and Arcanine, both have moves that will force us to switch, in Whirlwind and Roar. And from my many attempts, it seems to happen when one of our stats gets to +3 or above. So we're only able to set up a little bit, but not as much as I'd have liked. So Pidgeot whirlwinds our Mr. Mime for getting too greedy, and essentially Libby has chucked a drink in our face.
Well, that's all. Oh no! Smell you later.
The whole school is laughing at us. This is the worst first day ever. If only there was a way to get a do-over. Oh wait, we're magic. Resetting the day, we try again. Ash's dad gets off a barrier and then sets up a substitute, narrowly avoiding a Feather Dance and gets 2 Calm Minds in. Not wanting to push our luck and risk a whirlwind, we baton pass into Harvey, as yet again we're in a fight where Shockwave will be useful. I didn't realise, but baton pass also transfers substitutes across, which is really cool. So now we're +2 defense, +2 special attack and special defense, and shielded by a substitute. 3 Shockwaves defeat the Pidgeot as Libby heals. Arcanine destroys our substitute, but it's not a big issue as 2 Psychics destroy Arcanine. 2 Shockwaves for Blastoise, as all he was able to do is set up the rain. Alakazam v Alakazam now. He has 6 levels on us, but we are fueled by Ash's dad's encouragement. We set up a Future Sight to get some of that typeless damage set up, and then a Shockwave and a Psychic get our Doppelganger low as he uses Recover. But the Future Sight hits and does massive damage, winning that fight for us. Rhydon is next and a single Psychic one-shots. I considered setting up a Future Sight to do massive damage to the Executor, but this Rhydon hits pretty hard, and I didn't want to risk him sweeping our frail squad. Last but not least is the aforementioned eggs. The only thing that isn't resisted is Future Sight, so we set one off. A resisted Psychic does less than half, and Egg Bombs finally bring down our Goliath Alakazam. Ash's dad makes another appearance as we hide behind his substitute, ready to set up our next teammate. But all that prep is unnecessary as Harvey's ridiculously powerful Future Sight hits from beyond the grave, defeating the coconut tree and winning the battle. Sabrina has effectively magicked that drink into Libby's face, and officially started our first day of school as a badass. I pause the timer when we're entered into the Hall of Fame, and Sabrina gets a real world time of 3 hours, 18 minutes and 50 seconds. Sabrina absolutely smashed it. Psychic types have a great time in Kanto. There are barely any bug or dark moves to really hurt us with, and anything with the physical attack to bring us down typically has weak special defense, So as long as we outsped, most battles went our way. And then the really cool setup potential with Mr. Mime was a unique way to play the game that I've never tried before. If I didn't have that, I'd have probably ended up sinking all my levels into one Alakazam and winning that way. Onto the leaderboard. As I decided in the Surge video, real time is not a good metric to compare these runs alone, as it takes Misty a lot less time to get 2 Pokemon to level 50 as it would for Sabrina to get 4 Pokemon to level 50. So I use the following: real time divided by number of Pokemon. This is based on the assumption that it would take twice as long to level 4 Pokemon up as it would to level 2. Highest level minus lowest level. This is because I'm ranking the leader's team as a whole, not how quickly one over-leveled Alakazam can win. So the team that end closer in level clearly all performed well, and were each valuable in the run. Highest level minus average level. This is to punish a team like Coco where 3 of the Pokemon were useless, as opposed to Erica where only 1 was. And finally, highest level on its own. Lowest level wins. This is to reward teams that defeated the game at a low level, and as you can see, Sabrina comes first in 2 of these metrics and second in the other 2. And if we tally that up, we can see that Sabrina has finally kicked Misty off her throne and taken first place overall. An incredible performance. If you can think of other ways to rank these runs, let me know. But for now, Sabrina reigns supreme. Thanks a lot for watching. Please join me next time where we'll be getting hot and heavy with Blaine. See ya!